Hey, it's Greg from VPEN back again. So this video is going to be about what should I apply for? That's a common question that we get is, what am I eligible for? What should I apply for? And so on and so forth. So I want to get into the nuts and bolts of it, but first I want to answer the first question that I get from a lot of people is should I apply for claims all at once or should I do them one at a time? Um, you know, like maybe you have to apply for mental health, your hearing, your tinnitus, and your any um, any physical things like your joints and whatever. Do you want to put that all in at once, or do you want to split that up and do it over time? And the answer is it really depends on you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It just depends on how much time you have and how much energy do you have to devote to it. So the first question is like whenever you go through one of these claims, you need to do some paperwork. You need to go visit a doctor, probably two, three, two, 3 or 4 times when you factor in your initial assessment, when you factor in any testing like your X-rays or ultrasounds or whatever it is. They may have to do a subsequent 1 or 2 appointments to do all your range of motion testing and the forms fill out and all that kind of stuff. Then you've got to submit all that stuff online and go through the waiting process as VAC adjudicates that claim. Um, so doing that for 5 different claims, is going to take a bit more time than doing it for one. Now, sometimes if you're applying for, say, like, your left knee and your right knee, or your whatever, your spine and your shoulder, or something like that, it's a lot of times it makes sense to do those claims at the same time because when you go in to maybe talk to the doctor or maybe go get x-rays or whatever, you can kind of piggyback those appointments off each other and save yourself a bit of time. But you know that's entirely up to you. Um, the other thing that you can do is put everything in all at once, and then place anything on hold or pause it whenever you don't want to complete it, or if you don't have time to complete it, or if you can't get a diagnosis, if you're waiting for an MRI or whatever, then you can put those things on pause. Um, So there's no right or wrong way to do it. One caution I'll put in there is that if you have, say, 5 conditions in, VAC doesn't know if one of those is a consequential condition. So if one of them is dependent on another, then they don't know that in advance. So they will wait until all 5 of those claims have all of their documentation in before they'll start to process it. So if that's the case for you and they're waiting for that and you don't want them to wait, you need to let them know. So you need to call them up and say, hey, I want to put my back one on hold because I'm waiting for testing or I can't get a diagnosis or whatever it is, and let's proceed with the other 4 and let them know that. Um, okay, and as I mentioned, there's consequential conditions. Just a quick refresher if you are not familiar with what a consequential condition is, which is basically one condition that is a consequence of another. So the first one causes the second one, which in the case of mental health, that's a pretty common one. You have a mental health condition, and then it causes additional stress and suffering in your life, and that can make things worse, like IBS or GERD or like other gastric issues, digestive issues. TMJ, like you're clenching your jaw or anything like that, or if you have high blood pressure, those are all things that are made worse by stress. So if you have a mental health condition and then you have one of those things additionally, then odds are one of those is a consequential condition of your mental health condition. So when you go to apply for that, if you apply for your TMJ claim first and you don't apply for your mental health condition, then when you say the cause of my TMJ is my mental health condition and you don't have a mental health claim on the books, then they won't know what to do with that and they'll refuse it. So, just making sure that you're in that right order. You can either do the mental health claim and then the consequential condition, or you can do them both at the same time, and they'll adjudicate them at the same time and know that they're a mental health condition or correction, it's a consequential condition as long as they know it. Additionally, you can go the other way. So if you have a physical injury that affects your sleep, it affects your social life, it affects your hobbies and your sense of self-worth and so on and so forth, that can affect your mental health. And so we can go the consequential thing the other way. So if you're going to say that I I'm in pain all the time and that makes me depressed, the pain all the time is caused by something that happened in the military, and then the depression is caused by the pain, then make sure that you're applying for the the one that causes you the pain before the mental health one, or at the same time, not the mental health one where you're referring to a pain that they don't know about yet, if that makes sense. Um, all right. So next thing I want to do is quickly run you through this Chat GPT tool that's going to help you find out what conditions you might be eligible for. This is a very useful tool. Everyone that's gone through it has found value in it. So the link is available as you want to go through it. If you haven't used Chat GPT before, or if you're new to that, it's pretty simple. All you want to do is simply copy and paste everything inside this box. So I'm going to copy and paste all that all the way down to the bottom, and copy that and open up ChatGPT. Okay, so I'm into ChatGPT here. I'm gonna press paste it in there and press go. It's gonna think about it for a second. Um, while it's doing that, is what it's gonna do is basically ask you a bunch of questions. Okay, it's gonna come through and say, hey, I'm a disability benefits explorer. Takes about 10 minutes. So a lot of times what it'll say is, have you ever been diagnosed with anything? Have you ever experienced anything? So on and so forth. Um, okay, so yes. Okay. Well, first question. So do you have any issues that you still think about? Yes, I have back problems. I'm just gonna fill this out arbitrarily. And hearing issues. You don't even you kind of got to spell things right, but you don't need to put proper grammar or anything like that. So we're gonna ask you about that. Okay. Um, Okay, have you been diagnosed with anything else musculoskeletal? No, I have not been diagnosed with anything musculoskeletal. Okay, maybe when you wake up in the morning, are you in pain? And you're like thinking about it, you're like, oh shit, you know what? It hurts when I go up. My knees hurt when I go upstairs. Um, my knees hurt when I go upstairs. Yep. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put that in there. Added that. Okay. Now, cold weather and circulation. So, have you been diagnosed with frostbite, cold weather injuries, anything like that? I'm gonna say no. Um, so again, we're making the distinction here with a diagnosis, which you can put in if you have a diagnosis, but you can also just answer the questions here like, you know, your fingers in cold get unusually cold, numb, or painful? I'm like, shit, yeah, I was shoveling the snow the other day and my hands hurt like a motherfucker afterwards. So yeah, maybe that is okay. So yes to number one. All right, so there you go. It's added there. Okay. Um, okay, so tinnitus. Um, Boom. Yeah, I have tinnitus. All right. Okay, mental health. I'll just say yes or no. You don't have to provide any details, by the way, as you're going through this. You don't have to say anything in depth. So with mental health, I can just say, yes, I'm having mental health issues. Right? I don't have to provide, you know, what specifically is going on. Just yeah, I'm having mental health issues. High blood pressure or anything like that, I'm going to say, no, I don't have that. Um, okay. Do you ever get headaches, dizziness, all that kind of stuff? No, I don't have that. But obviously, if you did, you can put that in there. And again, I'm not telling you what this isn't actually what I'm going through. It's just I'm just adding things on here arbitrarily. In fact, I'm just going to say no to all the rest of them. But you can see it's asking you questions about your sinuses. It's asking you questions about you know, you have a persistent cough, you ever feel shortness of breath, stuff like that. Which if you, especially if you were ever exposed to any sort of toxic chemicals, burn pits or anything like that, and now you have shortness of breath, it's a good chance that's probably at least partly caused by the military, right? Um, so digestive system. Do you have any issues with your digestive system? Yes or no? I'm going to say no. Again, I'm just going to say no to all these just for the ease of getting through this a little bit faster. Okay, do you have, and then again, it's asking if you have a diagnosis, and then it's asking you to think about it a little more. So just adding a little more depth there. Heartburn, acid reflux, stomach pain, anything like that. And I could be like, oh, you know what? I do get stomach pain sometimes. Okay, gonna add that in. Boom, we're going who? Okay. So again, just gonna keep saying no as we go through, but you can see, so this is all going to be based off the table of disabilities and the entitlement eligibility guidelines, which are both the documentation that VAC uses to sort of adjudicate these claims and kind of how they talk through it. So there's a whole bunch of questions in here. Like I said in the beginning, it takes you about 10 minutes to get through. So we're just going to kind of walk through it here. So it's asking you about your kidneys and other bladder issues and stuff like that, right? So pelvic and groin pain, blah blah blah. Any issues like that? No, kind of put that down. Excuse me. Okay, other conditions. So as catch-all is anything to diagnose if you have, multiple sclerosis, you have sleep apnea, fatigue, headaches, vertigo, anything like that. That you can add anything else that's put in there. I'm going to just say no for that. Okay. And now it's going to summarize all those conditions. Okay. So now we're looking at back problems, hearing issues, tinnitus, knee issues, sensitivity to cold, mental health, and stomach pain. It also identifies which ones might be stress related. So if I have stomach pain and other things like that, that might be stress related. So these things might be consequential to my mental health condition. So if I haven't gone in depth and looked at that in detail, then we can go from there. So it does tell you a little bit of a next step guide here. Contact VAC. You can log into my VAC account. Um, so once you've identified those, you're going to need to fill out the 923E form. That's where you're going to talk about your causation statement and your quality of life statement. So the next video in the series is going to talk about that causation statement and quality of life statement, because those are very important for identifying why you think the military is responsible, and how you talk about that is very important in terms of how it whether or not VAC may or may not approve your claims, depending on how you talk about it. So if you do have any questions, please reach out to us and send us an email. And Ben at vpen.ca or Greg at vpen.ca will help you out. And we're happy to go forward with making it easy for you. So otherwise, that's it for this video. So go drink some water, and then I'll see you for the next one.